Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IGN Pro League cast. My name is Total Biscuit, bringing you ROOTdrewbie versus EGIdrA in a best-of-3 series as part of the winners bracket. The first game did go to EGIdrA after ROOTdrewbie's early game aggression was foiled by the fact that EGIdrA decided he was just going to go and build his extractor and his spawning pool before fast expanding. That was not expected by ROOTdrewbie. ROOTdrewbie's aggression was met with a wall of pain, zerglings, banelings, and roaches. Not the kind of thing that you want, and really, ROOTdrewbie caught on the back foot, unable to employ his trademark harassment and aggression, was torn apart regardless of the fact that he managed to do a little bit of economic damage with some blue flame hellions. Will he be able to do any better on the Shattered Temple? We will find out as we go into it right now. Get pumped, ladies and gentlemen. Violence is abound. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shattered Temple. My name is Total Biscuit, and this is ROOTdrewbie in the red trunks. He is playing Terran, part of Team Root. He is to the top of this particular map versus his opponent, the mighty EGIdrA from Team Evil Geniuses. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Zerg. Now, ROOTdrewbie caught completely off guard in the last fight. ROOTdrewbie's the kind of player that likes to really harass. In fact, he had a term named after him called the ROOTdrewbie drop, just because he likes to do a huge amount of drop harassment, and of course, none of that got into play at all. The only harassment he was able to do was with Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellions, which involved him getting in there and doing some economic damage, but really, he didn't do too much, and honestly, it didn't matter, because by that point, his opponent had already gotten into the base and was ripping ROOTdrewbie's army and economy into tiny little pieces, which were scattered to the wind. What will ROOTdrewbie do this time around? I'd imagine he will, one, possibly scout earlier to find out what his opponent's actually doing, and two, will try something a little bit more conservative, try and get his tech rolling so that he can actually get those drops done. However, bear in mind, he cannot just sit behind this wall. EGIdrA will bust through it at the slightest provocation and opportunity. It will certainly happen. Banelings, very effective against supply depots. Supply depots don't fight back all that well, let me put it that way. I tried to employ supply depots in some kind of fighting capacity. Didn't work, honestly. They just sort of sit there looking like pie ovens. And that's meat pies in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. None of your crazy American sugary pies. Ugh. Can never understand that. Why would you do something like that? I don't know. Whatever the case, EGIdrA will be looking to expand right now, and there you go. Already started it at the area in his natural expansion right here. This time around, it's a much larger map in terms of where the players are. ROOTdrewbie is actually not scouted at all. He probably will do that after maybe completing the wall off or after the barracks one way or the other. So EGIdrA is very safe to do what he's doing right now. And he also knows that his opponent must be on the back foot after failing with that early game aggression. Not going to try and do that one again, I wouldn't imagine. Spawning pool to follow that one up, and then we'll see an extractor momentarily. Plenty more drones coming out for EGIdrA because, hey, he is the kind of player that likes to build drones. I'm trying to think of any Zerg player that doesn't like to build drones, but EGIdrA has a particular fascination with drones. Having a look around and seeing what he can see. Now, this is the MLG version, so that means they will spawn cross positions. He is well aware of that, so he's kind of maneuvering around right now. He's doing this on purpose. He knows where his opponent is. You can just see it right there, and look at the route that he's taking. All the way around here. And then, of course, he'll try and flank around here, possibly stay in the back, and then go in at a critical moment. He'll also look for the timing on this expansion, find out when his opponent decides to expand, and then he can look for a timing window with which he can exploit. Indeed. EGIdrA likes to do that, folks. He likes to exploit people's weaknesses. He likes to catch them off guard. An interesting player, really, considering that some people have said that EGIdrA is actually quite easy to tilt, as in he can be annoyed to the point where he won't play to the best of his ability, and a lot of players are deliberately doing that right now. And there is significant evidence to support that that's the case, but we'll find out. I think if EGIdrA ever became a very cold, robotic player in the fact that he was never provoked by in-game banter and things like that, or indeed out-of-game banter, he would be an even more monstrous opponent. So I suppose it's good that he has actually one weakness, because I can't think of any others. EGIdrA moving in right now, having a look at the Zelnaga Watchtower. He finds nothing for the time being. Bunker coming down. Yes, ROOTdrewbie is going to play a lot more defensively. I don't really blame him. Admittedly, that bunker line last time melted so incredibly fast after EGIdrA was able to follow up with a large number of roaches, banelings to clean them out as well. Excellent play by EGIdrA last time. However, EGIdrA playing a little bit more defensively, doesn't want any Blue Flame Hellions in the back of his mineral line. A Spine Crawler already going up to deal with any possible aggression, and he does have map control right now, so he sees the Marines coming a mile away. Should be able to easily retreat from that, and the Spine Crawler will deal with that many Marines, no problem at all. Now, in the meantime, what's Drewbiegetting up to? He's got more factories on the way. We could see yet more Drewbiewith double factory. Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellion is very, very likely. Even more likely, the fact that he's now just started a reactor on that barracks. So it just seems to me he's going to do a swap over, I would think, and start with the Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellion harassment. It's a good map for it, certainly. He should be able to slide past that single spine crawler without too much of a problem. Might lose one Hellion if he's unlucky, but aside from that, he can get into the middle of the line and start doing some big damage. Meantime, EGIdrA keeping an eye on things, and there you go. That's where the Overlord went to. Keeps an eye on the expansion timing. He is out of range. He cannot be shot at right now, so that's very, very good indeed. In the meantime, it looks like EGIdrA managed to get some scouting information. He ran into the base. He checked out the barracks, and I believe he also saw the reactor on the barracks. So he has to suspect that his opponent is thinking about Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellions right now. And if we look at what he knows, he's seen the factory and he's seen the reactor. He knows exactly what's coming in. So he's going straight for lair, so I would expect to see Mutalisks deployed. Very smart idea. And, of course, to get Roach speed as well in order to deal with that nice and easy. Drewbie, in the meantime, doesn't really have anything to deal with aircraft right now, aside from a few Marines, and they are unupgraded. Once again, Drewbiegoing for this approach whereby he just doesn't bother with any upgrades for his infantry whatsoever, relying on mechanized units, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that against the Zerg, but still, I think that he might end up getting caught off guard once again by EGIdrA, because there's the Spire following that up almost immediately, and we've got a Baneling Nest as well, just to make matters even worse for Drewbie. Drewbie, one of the founders of Team Root, by the way, if you weren't already aware of that. Team Root, one of the top American teams, if not the top American team right now. Looking really, really good. Looks for the surround. It doesn't get it. Drewbie, excellent micromanagement. Unfortunately for him, if you're going to stay on creep, then that's what's going to happen. Creep tumor continuing to expand, and things looking pretty good right now for EGIdrA. He's not under any real threat. He's got good map control. He's got 12 Zerglings on the field. There are more of those Hellions working their way around. They don't have Infernal Pre-Igniter as of yet. Drewbie not actually bothering to push right now. Looking to expand perhaps once again. And now here comes the push from Drewbie. And the question is, what will he be able to do with it? How much damage can he really inflict with 7 Hellions? Well, we're looking for expansion there for EGIdrA. There is only one Spine Crawler right now, and those Zerglings are, however, hanging around. It depends really on the deployment of them as to how effective these Hellions are going to be. They're going to do a lot of damage to them. 2 shots should be able to take the Zerglings out very easily. And now he's retreating deliberately to try and take as much damage as possible on the Spine Crawler. Queen will be able to tank a lot of damage from those Hellions as well. Hellions only really do massive damage to light armored targets, and Queens actually have no armor type at all, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Mutalisks on the way, though. So he takes out a creep tumor. That's fair enough. Try and limit the maneuverability of his opponent. Tries to take on the second one. Ain't gonna happen right now. EGIdrA driven back once again. He's just trying to buy time right now until the Mutalisks come on the field, because once that happens, that's a lot of free kills for EGIdrA, and there they are. In the meantime, Drewbie scouting out, looking for another expansion. He doesn't find one right now. The Mutalisks are on their way, and Drewbie's gonna get caught out right now. Looking for the surround. Here come the Speedlings streaming across the map. They can't quite catch up with something that fast, and EGIdrA in the meantime going for a counter-attack. Now, as we saw, he's actually transitioned now into an armory, now into 3 factories right now, looking for 3rd on the tech lab. Wow, interesting stuff. Armory is up, Thors are on the way. Nice counter, of course, to those Mutalisks, and EGIdrA may be forced to switch over strategy, considering the number of Thors that are on their way. 1 already built, looking for the 2nd expansion for Drewbie as well, and we're looking at now 3 factories all equipped to produce Thors, and that's exactly what they are doing. I would certainly be a little bit worried right now if I were going heavily into Mutalisks, which is why I would not expect EGIdrA to build too many more of them. He'll still keep a standing force of them. They're very good for fending off Hellion harassment. They're very good, of course, for just harassing your opponent in general. Thors, while are amazing against Mutalisks, they're very, very immobile. And if EGIdrA can just keep the Terran player bottled up in his base and take control of the rest of the map, then he'll be in a great position. Hellion scouts that expansion. We're looking for yet another one right here as he batters his way through this rock formation. Level 1 flyer attack upgrade coming up for EGIdrA, so he will be building a few more Mutalisks and keeping the control right there. Until a critical mass of Thors is reached, he doesn't have to worry too much. He might lose 1 or 2 if he goes in for harassment. Missile towers coming down as well. Once again, forcing his opponent to be extremely defensive. And that could be rather concerning. Moving forward right now, EGIdrA with a flight of 15 Mutalisks. He's going to follow it up with 2 hatcheries right there and an infestation pit. Good stuff. He could be going for hive tech. Wouldn't make perfect sense, but of course, Infest is now much more effective against armored units, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if he decided to deploy them there to try and lock down the Thors and do big damage. No sign of siege tanks as of yet for Drewbie. Another factory coming down. Oh, this is Goody-style play right here. Goody, a German player who likes to go heavily into mechanized units. Drewbie not bothering with infantry of any description, but once again, forced into a position where he's not able to harass his opponent. So EGIdrA is really liking that right now. These Mutalisks will be able to prevent any drops. Not that we're actually seeing any drops right now, but still. Keeping an eye out, seeing if he can find any vulnerabilities in the defenses of his opponent. He should be able to do that. We have a look over here. One missile turret, one Thor. And with that many, yeah, he should be able to take it out with that many. A couple of waves of attacks. It loses one, takes the Thor out. Minimal losses for the Mutalisks, however, so I'm not too worried about that. But 2 missile turrets, he doesn't want to go anywhere near that one right now. Pathogen glands are coming in, so we are going to be seeing some Infestor play right now. Neural Parasite might happen in order to grab hold of some Thors, but right now I would just expect fungal growth, honestly, just because of the amount of damage it's now able to do to armored units and large groups of mech. Right now, one Infestor coming out. More Thors on the way. That's 6 Thors, looking for 8 right now with level 2 vehicle plating upgrade. That is an interesting strategy right now. We're also seeing a vehicle weapon upgrade as well. Zerg Flyer Carapace coming up, so no stopping those Mutalisks as of yet. Flying in once again, we're looking at 20 of them. That's a lot of firepower he can bring down. And if he were to go against that Thor and that missile turret, he'd probably kill both with bare minimum losses. We'll keep an eye and see what he decides to do. And as Drewbie continues to expand, he's spreading his defenses very, very thin. And that's very risky right now. EGIdrA taking some initial damage. Nothing too concerning for him right now. More Infestors on the way. A huge number coming out right now. I'm looking forward to seeing these in play. Infestors easily one of my favorite units. That's a bunch of free Hellions, and that is not good right now for Drewbie. And in fact, he's almost out of Hellions right now. He's relying on nothing but Thors. That is very, very risky. Here comes the Neural Parasite. Here comes the Hive Tech, and here comes the Hatchery. This is what I would be dreading if I were Drewbie right now. Here he goes once again. He should be able to take a Thor and lose only a few Mutalisks in the process. He could even snipe off that missile turret. He doesn't go for it, though. There's a huge amount of anti-air firepower. And it's very clever play here by EGIdrA as well. Psychological play, deliberately making his opponent build loads of anti-air. And of course, he is prepared for that. He knows his opponent's building a lot of Thors. And in return, he's got 7 Infestors ready for him. That could be unpleasant. In fact, he could go for Neural Parasite on almost all of the Thors, which would be devastating. Question is, will he do that, or will he simply be looking for fungal growth? Both of these are nice and effective against a heavy mechanized force. Once again, taking a little bit of damage as he flies past there. Nothing to really concern himself with. Too much, very easily replaced. And if we have a look at the income comparison, it's currently, thanks to mules, in favor of Drewbie. However, the economy of EGIdrA is also pretty strong. I wouldn't concern yourself with that at all. He's not short on cash, folks. He is not. Look at that. He's sitting on 2,500 minerals. He's ready to pop out a huge push whenever he decides to get aggressive with this. He's expanded all over the map. Look at the number of bases he's got going on right here. It's ridiculous. Broodlords on the way for him as well. That's deadly. That's not the kind of thing you want at all if you happen to be using Thors. But bear in mind that he is going for vehicle plating level 3, which is a fairly rarely seen upgrade, and that will tank a lot of damage. He's already got 3 armies looking for 4 against Broodlings. That will certainly help him survive a lot longer. Still, this combination of Broodlords and Infestors could prove to be deadly. EGIdrA biding his time. Not really all that concerned at all, and would you be? Drewbie continuing to push forward. 10 Thors and guarding from the ground with 8 Hellions as well. So actually, he should be able to clean up Broodling strikes quite easily, but right now, the Broodlords will not come into the equation. This is going to come down to how effective the Mutalisks and the Infestor combo actually ends up being. Taking an awful lot of punishment right there from the missiles, and the question is EGIdrA ready to deal with this? That's a lot of energy. He does have enough to deal a lot of Neural Parasite grabs with this one. I'm looking forward to seeing that happening because it's hilarious. I'm sorry, it is. Neural Parasite is such an amazing ability. Corvid Reactor coming up right now. Ravens on the way as well for Drewbie. That is really an interesting combination. Point defense drone, of course, and the idea of maybe even Hunter Seeker missiles, which are not being researched right now, so I won't be too concerned. Zerg Flyer Carapace level 2. Here come the Broodlords and the Zerglings on the ground. And Drewbie not even willing to go anywhere right now, and I don't really blame him. There are currently no expansion points that are out of reach of EGIdRA's forces right now, and honestly, trying to move to any of them could be incredibly risky. Trying to saturate this gold mineral line right now, and we do finally see a drop from Drewbie 18 minutes into the game. 3 Hellions loaded up and ready to rock and roll. But still, that is a little bit dangerous. The Infestors have been scanned, and Drewbie pulling back almost immediately right now. But will EGIdrA decide to go for it anyway? Looks like he will. Baneling's on the way for him. He's banked 5,500 minerals. He could replace this entire army almost instantly if it happens to die. I'd be very concerned for Drewbie right now as a direct result of that. Now, the question is, where did that drop go? The simple answer is, nobody knows. Aside from here, there we go. Unfortunately, EGIdrA ready to receive almost immediately. Does he even get a shot off? It's not looking likely. Drewbie streaming across with a single Hellion left. That wasn't good, but he did get scouting information, and he did see the Great Aspire coming in. So that's definitely useful there. Flyer carapace upgrades coming in. By the looks of it, unstoppable forces of EGIdrA moving on right now. Missile turrets coming down way too late, I'm afraid. Upgrades available. Gonna rain it down right now on everything that Drewbie holds dear. And in the meantime, these Infestors moving in. Here's the Neural Parasite. There's one. There's two. He grabs it. Down come the point defense drones. Half of the Thors are in control of EGIdrA right now. This is absolutely absurd play. Drewbie was not expecting anything like this. He just got absolutely mutilated. Mauled, murdered, I tells you, murdered. It is ridiculous. It is brutal. And the Thors desperately trying to hold out against the Broodlings and the Zerglings of EGIdrA, and you know it ain't gonna happen because EGIdrA just pulled off a coup d'etat, and over half of those Thors mutiny. Mutiny, that's what I call it, folks. Mutiny, murder, mutilation, and murder again. Oh, wow. So much damage, so much blood, and Drewbie just got ripped in two. Seeker missiles are on the way for him, but he's in a lot of trouble right now. That's going to be one dead planetary fortress quite soon with the amount of damage coming down. Down goes a barracks, and right now, not a huge amount of air units available to deal with those Broodlords. He's got a few Vikings, a few Ravens as well. However, here come the Corruptors, and there you go, point defense drone down, and that will hold for a little bit of time. Stims the Marines into it, takes down one Corruptor, looks for another one, needs to get into the Broodlord line, but there we go, and Fungal Growth rips through the forces of the Marines, and Banelings and Zerglings to follow it up and finish them off. Those point defense drones will not hold off for too much longer. There's a lot of Ravens on the field. Seeker missiles are on their way, but they won't be here in time as far as I'm concerned. Still trying to take that planetary fortress down. A very heavily armored unit. 81 kills, 83 kills for that planetary fortress, just tearing apart those Broodlings. More Broodlord cocoons incoming. The Air Force of EGIdrA is unstoppable right now. Sitting on 12 Corruptors. And here comes the deployment. Oh, Neural Parasite. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent grab. EGIdrA turns the guns against the Terran player. And Drewbie shredded as a direct result of that genius play here by EGIdrA. An amazing set of games thus far from him. Showing some absolutely fantastic strategies. And this is absolutely astonishing. Broodlords continue to hammer their way through the defenses of the Terran player, desperately trying to hold out, and right now you just know he can't do it. The army count comparison, the supply comparison, the economic comparison, it's just nowhere near. Look at it, shreds it. The Marines don't hold up for more than 5 seconds against that kind of assault. More Thors moving in to try and hold that line. The planetary fortress with 187 kills. It refuses to die yet. Oh, wow! Unbelievable. Neural Parasite on the Raven. Oh, could have almost fired that Hunter Seeker missile, and if he had, I think I might have exploded with joy. That was unbelievable play there by EGIdrA. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And there you go, folks. There you go. He actually he deployed a point defense drone. Unbelievable. He deploys his own point defense drone, grabs all of the Thors, and, well, it turns out Infestors are kind of good, aren't they? EGIdrA advances with some extremely inventive play, and Drewbie down to the losers bracket right here in the IGN Pro League. My name is Total Biscuit, and I'll see you next time.